Welcome to the Morning Report, a production of fightbackmedia.com, the #1 source of urban conservative information in America.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. I trust that you, are well today. It is Monday, August 26th? August 26th. We are through an interesting weekend that Robert Kennedy Jr. Has ended his campaign and decided to endorse Donald Trump. Not just endorse Donald Trump, but to work with Donald Trump. Now, a lot of people don't really realize, a lot of Democrats don't realize, especially younger Democrats don't realize that the Kennedys are the core, or were the core of the Democrat Party. And still a lot of Kennedys still work in Democrat offices. They work for the Biden administration. And RFK Jr. has done something that is really unprecedented in in modern times, especially with the extreme partisanship that is the norm now. He is not only broken ties with the Democrat family, but his own family. So many of his cousins and siblings have looked upon him right now as betraying the Kennedy name and his own father and his uncle, and of course his uncle JFK. So it's a hard place. It's a hard place for him to be, and I really, my heart goes out for the guy because it's a hard place to be. It would have been so much easier to not seeing a path to victory, just sort of shut it down, back it down, keep your mouth closed, do what you're supposed to do, go to the polls and vote for Trump. But he chose not to do that. And he chose not to do that for a number of reasons. And we're going to explore some of those now. The Atlantic, that has been known to be not townhall.com or not Breitbart, one of their writers has officially broken ties with the Kamala Harris craziness after exposing some things that maybe some of us have already seen. A left-wing publication published a hit piece on Vice President Kamala Harris after she officially secured the 2024 Democrat presidential nominee without a single primary vote. And there wasn't any call for her to step forward. There wasn't. Author Nancy Rummelman criticized Democrats for their COVID amnesia. President Joe Biden claimed Harris accomplished an excellent task of reopening the nation. However, the left-leaning outlet is refusing to let the Democrat Party off the hook for this one. Rummelman pointed out that schools were forced to remain closed in Democrat-run cities, while Republican governors began opening back up their states, like here in the Freedom State of Florida. She cited the destruction that these cities are still facing, the repercussions thanks to the Biden administration's policies. Democrats may not count on Americans, might count on Americans to be forgiving, but they're not stupid. And they would do well to not let the pageantry of a televised politics obfuscate the fact that they are being lied to. Rummelman was careful not to give former President Donald Trump any positive spotlight, noting that it was under his leadership that the 6-foot distancing rule and the masks were mandated. She said that when Biden was elected, she and fellow Democrats were relieved that the new leadership might bring change. However, she quickly learned that the country needed to be rescued, and not only the only ship in sight was a blue flag. Okay. Here's a little, I won't read all of what she wrote, it's too long. But we couldn't get off. We were captives to decisions sold in the name of science, but created more crudely by teacher unions and political appointees. Children were amongst the worst off as America blew America, really, like the host city of the Democrat National Convention. Kept its school closed longer than any peer country. Does the Biden administration expect voters to just not remember this? Actually, they do. In our supposed exuberance over Kamala Harris, we are somehow supposed to invent a memory of her heroic effort to pry open schools. Although the gaslighting is a term that we should probably retire for overuse, it's worth keeping in mind that we look at 2021 school reopening at timeline. We are being asked to magically revise into 2024 with an eye toward what, if anything, Harris had to do with it. Harris didn't do anything to change the administration's policies. Instead of facing down the teachers unions and urging local jurisdictions to reopen their schools immediately, the Biden administration decided to try buying their cooperation. So what did Biden mean when he said that Harris helped states and cities to get their schools back open? That one vote? I asked the Harris campaign for a comment, but didn't hear back. Keeping schools closed for so long was a mistake. And the Democrats shouldn't pretend Harris is responsible for opening them, nor should voters allow Democrats to pretend that she did. So according to several polls, Harris's favorability remains well underwater. The YouGov, The Economist, and the Gallup survey found that nearly 50% of voters find Harris unfavorable. Meanwhile, in an Emerson College and 538 poll, found the vice president does not hold an advantage over Trump. It's close in those polls, what they're saying. Now, I think what's important is that we remember what happened. It was governors. Like Tim Walz that shut down the country. It was governors like Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom that shut down the country. That was what was happening. And it was, municipalities, Democrat-run municipalities in Chicago and New York and Los Angeles that shut down the country. And it was those policies that kept schools closed. And as we're finding out, and we knew then, if we were going to actually follow the science, unnecessarily. That's the deal. And letting people forget or have manufactured memories of how things went down is probably the worst thing ever. RFK's problem with Trump is Fauci, the CDC, vaccine mandates, masks, mandatory masks. These are all things that came out of the Washington, D.C. during that time. Yes. And these are things that I guess that they're going to have to get worked out. But I'm not forgetting. I'm an older fellow. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. And I don't think you should forget either. And I don't think you should let anybody else forget. You should not let anybody else forget either. My name is Willie Lawson. This has been the Mona Report. The Mona Report is production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.